to security. Resist the assault! Until next time.
Caretaker, to me!
Hey guys, Subtractum here. Just wanted to make a build guide for something that I've been working on this league that I'm really proud of. It's a hybrid of the Mathil-style Golemancer shell and a variation on two-handed cast-on-crit Ice Nova. I think it's a fairly novel take on the style that is both initially budget-friendly and scales into all endgame content, including fully juiced 100% T16 Delirium with a Headhunter crazy stuff. Honestly, this is my favorite build that I've ever made, and I'm really happy to share it with you all today. Alright, so here she is, Miss Jammin' Lemon Ginger herself, named after the tea that I was drinking when I created her. She was actually my league start character, and after a couple false starts trying to make that Trinity support work, I kind of rattled a few things around in my brain and came up with this idea. And this is actually just the fruition of what I was looking at from the very beginning, and I'm incredibly happy with how it turned out. And this is a very significantly different take on the build, and I think more friendly to people that don't have 5 mirrors or more sitting in their stash. So the basic concept here is to take a two-handed version of the cast-on-crit Ice Nova. You know, if you're familiar with the assassin version, most assassins these days, they do a Shavs or hybrid version, and they use a shield to make up for the assassin's innate poor defense. Besides elusive, they don't really have much. And because the Elementalist has so much defense with their golems, we can actually do two-handed and and try to make up our damage that we lose by not being assassin that way. So what we do is we stack our golems as high as possible for a ton of defense. We get that accuracy out of the way entirely with the Ice Golem, which is incredible. One of the most annoying things about the assassin version is that getting the right amount of accuracy is super annoying. At least I found it super annoying, and you end up like pathing down here and taking depth perception, and you end up wasting so many points like going to these awkward nodes. And with your Ice Golem super juiced, you have 100% hit rate, like almost, like if I turn off precision, I'm still at 89%. Like I barely need precision to cap out, which is awesome. We get a ton of attack speed from our Lightning Golem. We get a ton of innate defense from our... We get 38% Fizz defense from our Chaos Golem, which just crazy. It's like having thousands of armor just all the time. And then, you know, if we pop a Roomies, we have 61% Fizz reduction. Like, we are so tanky compared to the Assassin. And then we're just always regenerating almost 800 HP a second. And if we push this, like I hit 950 when I was more defensive focused, and then I kind of dropped it down as I pushed the damage higher. Because Harvest Crafting is back, that lets us craft some really, really insane gear. In fact, all of my gear, except for my boots, I self-crafted. And I was using really nice self-crafted Tailwind boots until I saw these guys on the market and I had a little extra money and I bought these guys. But you can just self-craft everything. You can build up from an initial very cheap, like this is really just a 2 or 3 Exalt build that you can then turn into a 500 Exalt build and push everything you want in the game, and it'll stay with you through an entire league. For the passive tree, we go Liege of the Primordial, Elementalist, then Mastermind of Discord for more damage, and finally finish off with Bastion of Elements. The passive tree is primarily focused around these 2 large cluster jewel slots, as well as getting as much critical strike chance and crit strike multiplier as possible from the shadow area. We also go down over to the left area just to get more jewel slots and a little bit more hit points. For gear, you have to start off by getting 2 Costry's Malices. Early on in the league, they can be about an Exalt each, but they very quickly drop to 50 Chaos, and currently they're only 15 Chaos each. Very easy to get. They multiply throughout the league. This build will not be an exact league starter, but you can very easily convert from a normal Golemancer into this. After that, you're going to go for as many links as possible in a chest. Due to the cast on critical strike setup, the more links are that you can get, the better, because you have a wasted link on cast on crit, and Cyclone isn't really there to do anything except just to enable the cast on crit. So it's kind of a 4-link that you have going here that is only more than that because the cost breeds are triggering more spells. So anything you can do, grab a Tabula. As soon as you have 20 chaos, search for a 6-link, just the cheapest corrupted 6-link that you can, with at least 3 green sockets and as many blues as you can get. Reds are okay. You can socket in something like Inspiration to kind of make up for that in the meantime. After that, the most important part about this build, and probably what you would grab first if you started as a Golemancer, is the Anima Stone, 2 Primordial Eminences, and the Primordial Chain. This is what allows you to have 9 golems. Primordial Chain would be the last thing that you pick up. Instead of that, you can use a Primordial Harmony when you're a Golemancer, and these are super cheap initially. And you can just use that to have a lot of golems early on, and you can just use a different neck or even a Pandemonious for a kind of different setup until you can buy a Primordial Chain and you switch over to the full cost freeze build. Other than that, the rest of the gear is just something that you can build up from. It's super easy. Like, my helmet is just, I crafted this. I was throwing Frigid Fossils at a Hubris that was Redeemer that I bought for like 20 chaos. And I got very lucky with the +3 to level of socketed gems. I was really just looking for the cold res. These gloves, these were my upgraded gloves. I had initially been using a corrupted set of gloves that had attack crit implicit, and I made these myself very, very easily, just for like 5 exalts, I think. Well, because I got a Maven orb from killing Maven, and so I got the boosted Culling Strike, which was just a nice bonus, not really a night and day, just more AoE. And then I woked it up, and I got lucky with the dexterity, but very nice gloves, but you really don't need it. The belt is nothing more than just as much. I actually was using this belt when I was Ellie hit, and I didn't change anything. This is the exact same belt. It's just a lot of stats, and the jewel in here is just more res. So I have like 180 res in this belt by itself. And then these boots are just luxury boots. They have not really much effect on the build except for just making it significantly faster and nicer, but just go for highest move speed boots that you can with some life on them and move speed, and you're good to go. For the chest, there's quite a few options actually. You can just start off with a Tabula, or however you can get as many links as possible. After that, a Carcass Jack is actually what I used for a long time. Gives you nice damage, nice big AoE, nice defenses. And then after that, I look into crafting. The Exploding mod is really just great quality of life. Since we aren't scaling much physical damage at all, it's not going to do too much for us. I did play around a little bit with like grabbing Will of Blades. We get really nice critical strike chance, scales the fizz damage a little bit more, but that's just like really nice. I would go for it, but it's not critical. The attack crit and the power charge are actually the 2 core mods that I have here. Being able to get a power charge is very big. Just more crit, more damage. And what I was doing before that was actually going to Disciple of Forbidden, so we got power charges on kill, but that doesn't really work with bossing. So I crafted the power charge on kill on critical strike here, which is just, and it's a very easy mod to just augment crit with harvest crafting, very easy to get, and the attack crit is just very, very big for building up our base crit, since we have a low crit strike chance as an elementalist. And then your Circle of Fear rings, I was using 1 cheap Circle of Fear and a rare ring that had res and life on it initially, and this is kind of the stretch goal, is to upgrade to increase cold damage, Herald of Ice, buff effect, Circles of Fear. Start off, like, if you're just buying your first Circle of Fear, just go for the cold damage. The Herald of Ice buff effect is just a bonus on top of that. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. After that is your cluster jewels. There's a lot of flexibility in cluster jewels. What I did is absolutely it's not even the perfect setup. Like, there's more tinkering I can do here, but what I ended up with, these are all self-crafted also, just doing harvest crafting, tossing them in, like reforge for cold. And so I got blast freeze here, which is awesome. This helps your shatters spread, and you get better full screen pops. And blanketed snow is just 10% cold pen, huge. This is kind of a unique setup here. Is cold conduction gives me shock for free. There's another mod that when you hit a shocked enemy, you get power charges, and that can actually make up for the power charge on critical strike that I have on my chest. And then other than that, just going for critical strike, anything that you can get, magnifier, precise commander, anything like that, towering threat if you want more defense. This is kind of a cool thing that I'm doing, is I just have a single minion jewel here that boosts the effect of all my golems by 40%, as well as gives me 90% increased damage because I have 9 golems. Pretty cool little thing that I'm doing here. However, you could just get another blanketed snow and with like widespread destruction and whatever, like the typical jewel, and that would be almost as good, I think, if not better, for more offense. I anointed Divine Judgment, and that's about it. There's a lot of playing around that you can do. Like, as you get crit strike chance, you could drop some of the crit strike chance here, maybe go for some more cluster jewels. None of this is set in stone. It's just, this is what works for me. This Thread of Hope trick is a classic carryover from the assassin thing, where you can grab a couple of these nodes for free. This is not set in stone either. There might be different things you can do by dropping this and grabbing another cluster jewel. You know, play with it. For me, a build is all about playing with it and how you can customize it to make yourself. Like, just look at this as like a template. The last jewel here is the Frozen Trail, is pretty important. It makes our Frostbolt now have 3 projectiles. They go a little bit faster. And the most important thing here is actually just having Corrupted Blood on something. Because Cyclone, you're going to be attacking over 10 times a second. You will get Corrupted Blood and die very quickly, and in fact faster than you can press it on a flask. Like, if your flask is down for 0.5 seconds, you're instantly dead. So having an anti-bleed flask is a band-aid early on, but honestly, just look for like anything. Like, until I found the Frozen Trail one, I got this pretty cheap. You know, just put up a search on PoE trade to try to get it at some point when you have enough money, but until then, like, just find any jewel, even if it has nothing else on it, that has anti-corrupted blood, because that is critical to this build. For the flasks, I would say the Bottled Faith and the Diamond Flask are absolutely critical. You know, Bottled Faith obviously comes a little bit later, but you want to start off with the Diamond Flask. You could probably put a Wise Oak in here until you get a Bottled Faith. Cinder Swallow just gives you get really nice critical strike chance, and you get great sustain, and if you can get any flat fire damage from something, then you're going to be igniting the enemies, and they count as ignited, so they take 10% increased damage, which is a giant damage boost. And then this 4 slot is a total floater slot, so I have all these here because I've tried all of them. And so I really like Itziri's Promise, because with my current build, my KS res is not as high as I would like, and this kind of makes up for it, as well as just 15% extra damage and some more leech. Conversely, Rumi's is probably just better defensively in 95% of the situations. Dying Sun is fun for more frostbolts and bigger AoE. Taste of Hate's nice for bigger physical explosions, because you convert some fizz damage to cold. Or probably the best is actually a Wise Oak, especially if you can balance your resistances, and just 15 more damage pen is just always huge. For gem links, the most important thing, of course, is Cyclone with Cast on Crit and Ice Nova. After that, it's kind of tailoring to what you like. Unfortunately, because Elementalist, trying to get your critical strike chance as high as possible is the challenge with this flavor of the build. I'm running increased critical strikes. kind of a side project for me, is seeing how far I can push my base crit so I don't have to use this, but right now it is unfortunately necessary. Conk Effect is just the most damaged gem after that, and then I'm running Hypothermia, specifically Divergent, because it gives me the -4 cold res to the monsters. Conversely, in here, you could swap in something like Awakened Controlled Destruction, Awakened Ellie Focus, if you don't mind not freezing or chilling with your primary Ice Nova, you still will with your secondary one. Or even something like Inspiration, which will then make your Cyclone cost no mana, if mana is a problem. After that, what I like to run in my Cospreys, Frostbomb, I think is a must-have. That -25 cold res, and with Maven these days, reducing the life regen is pretty noticeable. Cold Snap will give you frenzy charges if you don't have the frenzy charge mod on your chest. It's a nice little trick that you can do. Frostbite is just a no-brainer. You can try to go for Frostbite implicit on some gloves, or maybe on a rare ring, but that's just how I'm applying it right now. Phantasmal Frostbolt is my favorite because it returns back to, it looks funny, and it is some bonus damage. Another Ice Nova, and then I use Bone Chill here, so this is kind of a different setup than the Assassin one. The Assassin setup will have a Vortex with Bone Chill and Awakened Unbound Ailments. We do not have the gem slots for that, unfortunately. So because we don't have a Vortex setup with Bone Chill, I put it on my Ice Nova and Frostbolt here, which will apply it quite liberally. And that Ice Nova, which is this one, has a chill effectiveness of 75%, which means the Bone Chill is making the enemies take 75% increased cold damage. This is one of the highest DPS increases that you have in your kit, and I think it is you cannot change this. You might be able to play around with something like maybe get a Vortex Bone Chill thing in here if you want to like drop the Immortal Call or something, but in my opinion, this is one of the best places to put it. So up here, I have a +3 to Socketed Gems helmet, and then I put in what I value the most for my golems here that I want leveled up the highest, which is Lightning for attack speed, Ice for accuracy and critical strike chance, the Flamey for just more damage, and the Chaos Golem, which will then, this gives us our 38% physical damage reduction. After that, like, I could put in the Stone Golem, and it is pretty cool if you put him up here, and I have to resummon him. And I actually have to get all my golems back. Let's see, Lightning, which one's missing? Flamey. Now you'll see that I'm regenerating 906 health a second, gave me about 120 more life regen by swapping him up there, but we did lose damage by not getting +3 to the Flame Golem. So that's a thing you can do. You can play around with stuff like that. Then I have Second Wind with Arcane Surge and Flame Dash. I have a level 21 Precision here, just for as much critical strike chance as possible. You can get away with like a 17 or 18 even if mana is a concern. Highest level Herald of Ice that you can get. I just have a very simple Immortal Call, cast some damage taken. So I was very lucky in that I found this Circle of Fear that has Hatred coming with it. The difference between level 21 Hatred and a level 10 was like 3 or 4% damage, so this was not a concern to me, and this actually freed up a slot. Like, you could, if you need to put Hatred somewhere else, you could drop Second Wind, or I think I actually had Arcane Surge dropped here. So, that's the build. I hope I inspired you guys to try it out. This is the most fun build that I've played in a long time. It goes from 2 exalts to 200 exalts very easily, very smoothly. Super fun to play, and I'd love to hear if you guys give it a shot, and feel free to ask me any questions. I love to help people out, and and just share my passion for making builds and tinkering with them constantly with other people. So yeah, catch you guys later.